जनवरी 2024 ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਰੀਜਨ ਆਫ ਪੀਲ ਡਿਸੋਲਵ ਹੋਣਾ ਸੀ, ਉਹਦੀ ਕਮੇਟੀ ਵੀ ਬਣ ਚੁੱਕੀ ਸੀਗੀ। ਲੇਕਿਨ ਹੁਣ ਸੋਰਸਸ ਤੋਂ ਇਨਫੋਰਮੇਸ਼ਨ ਆ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਰੀਜਨ ਆਫ ਪੀਲ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਡਿਸੋਲਵ ਹੋਣਾ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਹੋਲਡ ਹੋ ਜਾਏ। ਇਹਦੇ ਚ ਅਪਡੇਟ ਆਇਆ ਕਿ ਜੋ ਮੇਅਰ ਬੌਨੀ ਕਰੋਂਬੀ ਸੀਗੇ ਉਹ ਪ੍ਰੀਮੀਅਰ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਓਨਟਾਰੀਓ ਲਿਬਰਲ ਦੀ ਰੇਸ ਜਿੱਤ ਗਏ ਹੈ, ਲੀਡਰ ਬਣ ਗਏ ਹੈ, ਹੁਣ ਉਹ ਪ੍ਰੀਮੀਅਰ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਖੜੇ ਹੋਊਗੇ। ਸੋ ਮੇਅਰ ਪੈਟਰਿਕ ਬਰਾਊਨ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੈ, ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਕਿ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਨੁਕਸਾਨ ਇਹਦੇ ਚ ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਨੂੰ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਔਰ ਡਿਸੀਜਨ ਅੱਜ ਦੀ ਅਪਡੇਟ ਕੀ ਹੈ। Mayor, welcome to the Prime Asia.
Always great to be on Prime Asia.
So, Mayor, what is the latest on Region of Peel, dissolving the Region of Peel? Because we are just 1 month away. In January, it was decided that committee will dissolve it. So, what is the update now?
So I hope the rumors are correct that the provincial government's going to stop this train wreck, because that's what it was. It was a train wreck. The Deloitte report showed that taxes would skyrocket in Mississauga, Brampton, and Caledon. You know, it's so expensive to recreate. You know, if you have to have 3 police forces and 3 paramedics forces, new management, new facilities, cost would skyrocket. It would be punishing for residents. The largest tax increase in Peel Region history. I warn the provincial government, this won't be my tax increase. This will be your tax increase, because you're the one who's in charge of this. I'm relieved to hear they're talking about walking it back. It will be a win for homeowners. It will be a win for residents. We don't need this massive tax increase. The other thing I'd say is, you know, one of the reasons I think the province is looking at walking this back is it's the police, it's the public health workers, it's the shelter staff, it's the paramedics who all said this was going to be a disaster. And when your frontline workers are saying this is going to be a disaster, the paramedics even said this would risk lives. Thank goodness the provincial government is listening to these pleas.
But Mayor, they never decided this before because they formed a committee also. So at this stage, just 1 month away, then they decided to, maybe if the rumors are correct, that they decided to dissolve it. But why did not they decide it in the first place? Because Brampton is in loss. And you, last few days, you advocated that. You highlighted transit and paramedics and all the loss, the Brampton. How much the value loss if it happens to the Brampton?
It would be disastrous for Mississauga, Brampton, and Caledon. It would hurt everyone. I would note it's not a month from now, it would be 13 months. It would be January 1st, 2025. They did appoint a transition board that's been looking at this. And frankly, I applaud a government that listens to the evidence. As I've told the provincial government and the outgoing mayor of Mississauga, it's never the wrong time to do the right thing. Now that the evidence is so clear that this was going to be a disaster, I don't want to say I told you so. I want them to come together and say, let's fix this and let's put residents first. You know how I've got to applaud? You know, Janice Baker, the former city manager in Mississauga, who was the biggest advocate of dissolution. This was Hazel McCallion's hand-picked city manager. And she came out and said, dissolution's flawed and it should be walked back. And so when you have the person who was originally behind dissolution saying that it's a mistake, boy, does that speak volumes. It sounds like everyone's agreeing now. Public health, the police, the paramedics, the shelter staff, the long-term care staff, the provincial government, Brampton, Caledon. The only person who seems to be clinging to this reckless idea is Bonnie Crombie. And you know what I've said to Bonnie Crombie, this is the test of her leadership. Knowing that you came up with an idea that was a mistake, real courage is not doubling down on that mistake. Real leadership is saying, I made a mistake, I'm going to correct it, and I'm going to put residents first.
So do you think this was Bonnie Crombie's political game, that she decided this way?
I think she wanted to leave some legacy in Mississauga. Clearly, it was flawed. This would have hurt Mississauga dramatically. And now that her own paramedics, her own police, her own shelter staff, her own public health staff are telling her this was going to be a disaster, you know, I'd say to Mayor Crombie, listen to your frontline staff and join the rest of us in saying, let's move forward. Let's make Peel work. Let's celebrate some of the best staff we have in the country. I got to tell you, our police officers, our paramedics, our shelter staff, our public health staff, our long-term care employees, they're extraordinary. I think if they heard that from all the mayors and from the provincial government, it would be welcome, because you know what the regional employees have had to go through over the last year with this process has been unfair.
Okay.